Alright lads, welcome to my beginner's guide to Oblivion. Now, the character creation in Oblivion is much more sophisticated than Skyrim's, so there are a lot of things that you need to know and understand, otherwise your character can really suffer really late game and you might make mistakes and you might end up, say for instance not having enough magicka. So the first thing you need to understand is how the leveling works in Skyrim. Now, you level skills, and then 10 of your major skills will result in you getting a level. Now you get to choose 7 major skills at the start of the game. Look, as you can see right here, I have my 7 major skills. When I increase these skills, I level up. So one skill is 10% down here. So what you need to do obviously is increase them. But you can also increase your minor skills. Now each skill in the game will kind of govern one of the attributes, and it is important to learn all the attributes. So say for instance we've got strength here. When you increase blunt, blade or hand to hand, it means that when you level up, you'll be able to increase your strength stat. Okay, and you can increase three attributes in one level. Okay, and depending how many times you increase the skill, say I increase my blade skill by 3 points, I would get about 2 points to spend in strength. And then 5 to 7 will be about 4 points, and then 10 plus is going to be 5 points. But the thing is that you need to learn is that you don't have to increase your major skills just to increase your attributes. You can increase your minor skills. Say for instance, I'm increasing my conjuration skill so that I can increase my intelligence stat. So I'm just leveling my conjuration, and it will increase my intelligence stat. So when it comes to choosing your major skills, really you want to make sure your skills fit into about 3, perfectly 3, or maybe 4 attributes, because you don't want your skills to be all over the place, because then you won't be able to increase your attributes very well, and you will have to focus more on increasing your minor skills to get your attributes up, and you don't really want to do that. A really classic example of this, say for instance, intelligence governs alchemy, conjuration and mysticism. You may not want to specialise in those types of spells. So you might want to specialise in the willpower skills like destruction, alteration or restoration, but the thing is willpower only increases your mana regeneration, intelligence increases your mana pool. So what you might have to do is don't get a major skill in an intelligence stat, but you might want to, but just increase minor skills like conjuration and mysticism are so easy to increase, so pick them as like a minor skill if you want to increase your intelligence stat, because increasing your intelligence is much better than increasing your willpower. Willpower is a stat you want to increase a lot later in the game, really. So I'm just going to go through the attributes very quickly to explain what they do. Strength, it's very easy, increases how much fatigue you have, and increases your damage with melee weapons, and so that could be, blade and blunt, and it also increases your hand-to-hand damage. Intelligence is going to increase your mana pool, and it's as simple as that, and that's why it's a really good start to learn. Willpower, it's going to increase how much fatigue you have as well, but it also increases your mana regeneration. It's a stat that you want a little later, but it is helpful to have increased willpower. I'm not slagging it off completely. Agility, bow damage, again, in total fatigue, is governed by your agility, and it's a lot of attributes that are governed to your fatigue, which is kind of useful. But it also, I don't think it's actually mentioned there. Yeah, ability to maneuver and balance. So basically, every time you get hit with a sword, like a power attack, you have a chance to get knocked down. You go like this, and basically, the higher agility stat you have, the less chance that has to occur. So you basically resist knockdowns and blowbacks and that kind of thing. So it is definitely helpful for a fighter to have that skill. Speed, everyone needs speed. It basically helps you to get around faster. It is really annoying when you're in full heavy armor and you're really slow, and that's basically just it. That's what it is. It's just how fast you move. Now, endurance also increases how much fatigue you have and also your health. So like the higher endurance stat you have, the higher health you have, but also it will increase the amount that you gain, the amount of health you gain per level. I can't remember the exact amount, but basically higher you want to get endurance very high very quickly. Pretty much any any character really needs to increase endurance, otherwise you're gonna have you're gonna have a hard time having a low health. But if you have some kind of alternative, like perhaps illusion magic to protect yourself, or alteration magic, then maybe you might be able to cope. But it is always useful to have a high endurance stat. So maybe you don't particularly want to a heavy armor skill, but you can just put heavy armor on anyway, it as a minor skill, have it as a minor skill, but have it heavy armor on, and then your endurance skill is going to increase, and it won't level you up too fast, because every time you increase a minor skill, it doesn't count towards your level. So wearing heavy armor as a mage is actually really useful, because you increase that endurance stat, and you can increase your health pool. And then also armor, obviously, like spend money on repair armors, that kind of thing, and block. You know, you might also want to get a sword and block a few times, like when you're waiting for your mana to regenerate. Now, personality is just boring, really. It's because you can just bribe people. It's kind of useful, but it kind of isn't. Luck is kind of a strange stat. I think it works a similar way to agility. You'll have a chance to get a knockback or something like that, and it also increases a chance on loot and stuff like that. But really, it is kind of useless, because you can only increase by 1 every level. I've coped very fine in the game without it, but there are some people who would argue that a luck build is quite strong. But I mean, you can go for it. If you only have 2 attributes that you want to focus on, and you want to increase luck every single level, then yeah, I mean, that's fine. Okay, so right now I'm going to run through the character creation. First of all, let's go through. Let's just basically go for the class creator. First of all, little trick. We're obviously going to create a custom class. If you want like any kind of picture you want, click the one you want first. Like, let's say for instance, I like that picture. I'm going to click that picture, then click custom class, and you get that picture. Now, the first thing is you get basically you have 3 sets of skills. So you've got all your combat skills, your magic, and your stealth skills. And when in this first screen, you're going to choose your specialization, and which means that every single skill. So let's go for combat. Means armor, athletics, blade, block, blunt, hand-to-hand, and heavy armor. They're going to get a plus 10 increase at the start of the game, but are also going to increase slightly faster. So the most skills that you are going to choose, say for instance, like you want to be a bit of a paladin guy. You've got your heavy armor. Say you've only got like 1 magic skill that you want to focus on, or like 1 stealth skill. Obviously, you want to focus this screen on the most skills in a certain group. So let's say for instance, go for combat. And in this screen, you're just going to get plus 5 to attributes. Now, I'd recommend intelligence and endurance. It doesn't really matter that much. Endurance is just a stat you really need to be very high, very early game. You want to increase that very fast, and it's the same with intelligence. But you can go for it. You can still go for like anything else. It's just endurance that I would very strongly recommend. And this is when you choose your 7 major skills. So these are the skills that you are going to increase your level, and are all going to get to be at apprentice level, which is kind of useful. So obviously, like when you've got plus 10, you've got plus 25. Sometimes you can start a game with 45 skill in a certain skill. So you just choose whatever you want, really. No, you don't choose whatever you want, but make sure these skills are governed by a certain amount of attributes, like they're grouped into an attribute. And then you can choose a name, whatever name you want. Now I'm just going to talk through the birth signs. So if you're looking for a warrior kind of character, funny enough, the warrior thing is going to be good. It's got a nice increase to your strength and endurance. So you can start with you got like plus 10 endurance here. You got another plus 5 in the other screen. So you get an extra 15 endurance at the start of the game. That is going to be really nice. I'll go for the mage. I think the safest bet, if you're not making a high elf, I think the mage is probably the best option. Mine are a little different because I've got an overhaul mod, so ignore the effects on screen. But basically, it's like plus magic, 50 magic points. Yeah, definitely good for a high elf. A high elf, you have immunity. What is it? A weakness to like all the elements of magic. So when you get the apprentice, you're going to suffer a bit because you've got 100% weakness to magic. So you're going to take a lot of magic damage, and that can be quite deadly. But any other race, like for instance the Breton. Bretons, if you want to be a Breton, the apprentice is a really good shout out. The Atronach, it's really not that helpful. Unless you're making a lot of mana potions, you're going to suffer. It's not really that interesting. I would recommend picking it actually if magic isn't what you're going to use all the time. Perhaps you're going to use it a little bit, because that resistance to magic is actually quite decent. Another good option for like a cross between a warrior and a mage is basically the lady, because it's going to give you an increase to the willpower and endurance. And the rest are like if you want to make the thief is great because you get 10 points in luck as well, which is really useful in agility and speed. You may also want to go to the steed though, which is you get increased speed by 20 points, so you can literally start with about 70 speed, which is really useful to get around really quickly. The rest really are just powers. If you don't really need them, because you can get these powers with sigil stones in the game. Like for instance, you can just get them by other means. You know, so yeah, all these ones. Yeah, see, the rest of them are just kind of like just random little powers which aren't really that. I mean, they are useful, I'm not arguing they're not useful, but you can actually get them in the game, so there isn't really any point choosing them at this point. So obviously, races have different stats, opening stats. You definitely want to Google them. I'm going to leave it in the description, the like race stats, because every single race has, like for instance, I know that High Elf, I can't remember a Mole Elf, but High Elf has a bit of a boost to Magicka, and I think the Breton does as well. So I know the Red Guard has a good heavy armor skill, and so does the Orc as well. But don't feel restricted by race, but obviously certain races are going to like give you a little boost to your attributes and your skills early game. So I'm just going to finish on probably the most important point of this whole video, and that is the how you level up. So every time I want to stress the importance of, you can increase your minor skills to increase your attributes. So say for instance you want to be a mage, but you want the willpower skills. You can go and increase your conjuration, mysticism skills in your mind if it's a minor skill, and you can increase it. You can grind it really high. You can get about 10 points each level, which is going to increase the attribute by about 5 points. So always remember to do stuff like that. If you want to increase your endurance stat or anything like that, like obviously you've got heavy armor, you've got armor. So just remember, just because you've got those 7 skills doesn't mean you have to necessarily level them. You may even just want to. You just want to know what kind of skills you want first of all. The ones that you want to increase, you want the skills to be high. But just remember, you've got these minor skills that you can exploit to increase your attributes. So always remember to do stuff like that. Like you might want to have a high speed stat, and that doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a speed major skill. You can just increase your acrobatics and your athletics as a minor skill, because remember, like when you have a minor skill, it's going to increase faster, because the higher a skill is, the slower it takes a level. But if you've got like acrobatics at level 5, then it's going to increase like you probably jump twice and the skills will increase. So you can probably get like plus, like within the first 4 levels, you can very easily get like an extra 20 speed if you just make sure you increase it by 10 points each level. So you just got to exploit that kind of thing. I mean, what else is there? Say for instance you're going to be a warrior. You're just going to be a warrior. You got strength and endurance. Okay, those are only skills you're going to increase. But you want to get fast, so yeah, you just get athletics and acrobatics as a minor skill. Remember to jump around, and your speed skill will increase. Because remember, the minor skills don't count towards you counting up your level, which means you can increase it by about, I don't know, you can increase a skill like 100 times, right? And you won't level up. But each time you level up, you will get plus 5 in that attribute. So just remember to exploit that system, because it is really, really bloody useful. But anyway, lads, I've probably gone on enough. Remember to leave any comments, any questions in the comment section. My name is the Metagoblin, and until my next video, ciao.